Hey, this is John Casmon. We're here at the Midwest Real Estate Networking Summit, and I'm sitting with my man, Matt Faircloth. Matt, how are you?
What's up, man? Thank you so much for being here. This has been a
Absolutely.
phenomenal experience being here with you guys this weekend.
Absolutely, man. Happy to have you here. Now, if you know Matt, you know that he's a great capital raiser. He's written a book on raising private capital for bigger pockets. So we have him here right now to talk about how to raise $1 million in the next 90 days. So how the hell do you do it?
It's one of those things. It's mind-blowing and sounds like, oh my God, that's impossible. But we're just completing a raise right now. We put together 2.9 million in about 90 days, and it's not. It sounds harder than it is. Now I'm going to give you a few tips to you and to your audience here. I know you've done quite a bit of capital raising too, so feel free to jump in with some ideas. But what I want to tell you guys, number one, you got to do is you got to have your network down before you start raising money. So you cannot start this process if you've got your network at zero to start raising money. Okay, this 90-day stopwatch starts when you've got a deal, not when you first get started. This is, I've got a deal, start the clock. Before you start the clock, you got to have people lined up, and my book, Raising Private Capital, talks a lot about how to find those people. But in general, these are people that have retirement accounts that they're looking to, that they can convert their IRA into a self-directed IRA. There's $9 trillion in IRA accounts in this country, the 96% of which is invested in Wall Street. Right? Mm-hmm. So you could peel a lot of that off. That could be your million right there, but you got to get to meet these people, right? My book talks about how to do that. There's also a bunch of free and clear real estate in this country that could be your source of capital. And there's quite a bit of people that just have cash. We talk about how to find all those people, right? So find your people first, build your network, build your, what I call your money list, right? Get that money list down first, right? Then go out and find a great deal, not a good deal.
A great deal. All right, so you gave 3 tips right there. One, find investors who have a self-direct IRA or money in their retirement accounts right now. So you talk a lot about that at the event. We have that video footage. So if you want to learn more specifically on how to find those individuals who have money in their retirement accounts, make sure you get the video, and that will be available. You also talked about equity in their home, how to tap into equity in their home, and then folks who just have cash sitting around. So we have this list. Now what do you do when you identify some of these folks?
So like I said, you got to find a great deal, right? And here's the thing, my buddy Brandon Turner says a lot, right? You don't find great deals, you make great deals, right? There's not just this, a great deal is not like this apple hanging on a tree, you can just go and pluck it right now. That's not the market we're in, and not for nothing. I've been around for like 15 years in real estate. The market has never been that way. The market's tough right now, but it's always like that. There's never good deals to just like, and when the market was down during the crash, which I was around for, it was impossible to find financing, right? So it's never this perfect storm. It's never gonna be just good deals hanging on trees, great deals hanging on trees. You're gonna have to go and find something that's a good deal and find the equation that it's gonna take to make it a great deal. Okay, listen, if I raise the rents like this, these units don't have washer dryers. Every other unit in this market has washer dryers. So what if I add washer dryers? Well, geez, I can get another $150 in rent. Only cost me $2,000 per unit to put in washer dryers. If I can make $150 per month in rent more by investing $2,000, that's a good deal, a great deal. That's a great equation. I like that. So find something that you can develop an equation to develop a secret sauce. And I submit to you guys that most deals have a certain equation that works. Might not be at the buy price the seller's asking for, but find the secret sauce that makes it work. That makes it a great deal. So find that, right? Get it under contract, because another thing you want to do is you don't want to start presenting deals to your network until you got a real deal. I heard somebody at the seminar the other day talk about how he went to one of the investors. He's got the wrong investors, but he put a deal out to his investor base, and one of his investors went and took it from him.
Oh,
you know,
man.
like, oh no,
Geez.
like, what are you doing? Right, and so you got to lock it up, because it's not a deal until it's yours, right? That's just something that's out there on the market. And the second, you're dealing with the wrong investors if they're going to go do that kind of thing to you. But secondly, lock it up. And then the next step is go e-blast it to your network, call them up, create a sense of urgency. You know, this deal's not going to stick around forever. You know, the way I word it is like, I've only got this many shares left. You know, that's all I've got. You've got to put your selling shoes on. and call and pound the phones. That's the next step to the process.
So you talked about not just finding a great deal, but you might have to make that deal great.
Make that deal great.
So you make the deal great, you start reaching out to your network, and you've got to create this scarcity mindset, right?
Yes.
So you have to go in there and make sure people understand that this deal will not last because it is a great deal. And everyone's looking for great deals right now. There should be a lot of demand. So you create that. What if this person doesn't have necessarily a long track record? How do they go and kind of bring investors into the deal if they don't necessarily have a long track record?
It depends on what a track record they got, right? If they've got a track record in something, like I met a guy at the event that has 8 units right now, he's trying to buy 20. That's enough track record to take down 20. Now, if he's going to try and make his 8 units up to 100, that might not be enough. So if you're stretching yourself beyond what would be perceived as a comfortable stretch for yourself, and a comfortable stretch typically is doubling your portfolio. So like doubling to tripling what you got now, that's an okay stretch. Most people are going to be okay with that. If you are beyond that, outside of that, you might want to hitch your wagon to someone else that's in your market, that's got a few more units, that's got a little more experience, whatever it is, that has experience in that marketplace, and bring them in as a mentor. There's a lot of experienced investors that are willing to step in, and for a small slice of the project, don't let them be greedy, for a small slice of the project, they will mentor you through the ins and outs of the deal and keep you out of trouble and let you use their name as someone who is involved in moving things through. So maybe find a mentor. But don't, if you don't have to, if it's 2 to 3 times what you have right now, you should be okay.
So a lot of investors will go out, they'll start raising capital for a deal, and maybe they get towards the end, and they don't have all the capital they need. Right. So if you're a couple weeks out from closing,
that last 10% is the hardest to find,
that last 10%, what do you do different for that last 10% that you didn't do for the rest of it?
You got to raise your game. You got to make a lot. You got to call those investors back again. And the other thing that happens, by the way, is people are like, yes, I'm in. And then you mark them down as the deal sold, and then you call them up and like it's time to write the check, and like, well, you see, then I read it by my wife, and my wife said, like, so you might
my tax bill came
right
in.
Then I needed a new car, whatever. Yeah. So I can't tell you how many times that happened to me. So one of the tactics is you want to raise 150% of what you need, and like if somebody misses out, oh, sorry, you didn't.
See, I was doing 130. You're doing 150.
Yeah, you do. Okay. Yeah, well, that's my target. I don't actually ever get to 150, but I say I'm going to go. Okay. I'm about you. I go to 120 to 130%, and just knowing that I'm going to lose 20 to 30%. So factor that in, guys. Not everybody that says yes is going to get out their check. Right? Okay. You're like, well, you see. Okay, so when you do get to that, when that moment happens, you might have to call somebody else in your network, your mentor, or somebody else that's around you or something like that and say, listen, man, I'm short, I need this. You can negotiate something called a bridge loan. I've gone to hard money lenders, and you got to let them get creative. So a creative hard money lender and say, listen, I'm short, I got to close in a week, and I need $100,000. Short term to close in a week. Maybe you've got some other collateral that they could put a lien on. We have allowed them to put a lien on shares of the company. So that it's like we would give them something called short-term equity in the project. And I raise after closing, like I'll raise them out to push their loan out. Maybe I don't take my acquisition fee. Maybe I don't raise the startup cash I need. Because by the way, don't just raise the money you need to buy the building. You got to raise enough capital that you got to get through the storm and just some reserves, right? So maybe you raise a little bit short on there and keep raising after closing. So there's a couple options: bridge loans, or close a little bit short of what you need and just keep raising after closing. You're not going to sleep very well at night till you're fully raised, unfortunately, but that might be how it goes. So there's a few options there.
So listen, raising capital is not easy, but it's absolutely doable. With the tips that Matt just gave, you can absolutely raise $1 million in 90 days. If you want to learn more great tips, make sure you get our video for the Midwest Real Estate Networking Summit. We've got Matt for like 50 minutes or so, talking about how to raise private capital and so many other great speakers. So make sure you check it out, get the videos, and make sure you step up your real estate investing game.
And the bottom line, guys, is everybody knows people with money. I can show you guys how to do it. I talked for 50 minutes about it on the video. You guys really need to check that out because there's a lot of places that you might not be looking in your own network where there is millions, not a million, millions of dollars in everyone's network that's just waiting to get tapped to put into your real estate deals.